long before the pyramid pierced the sky, before hieroglyphics whispered secrets on the temple wall, before Pharaoh walked the earth as living gods, there was a people, a dreamer's tribe. There was a spark, and there was a river, a life giver, the Nile, the longest river on earth, a force of nation that did not just shape geography, it bettered the dawn of a civilization. This is the story of the ancient Egypt unification, the rising of a city and the forging of a society that would define power, religion, and innovation for millenniums to come. More than 5,000 years ago, scattered tribes along the Nile fertile floodplain began to organize. They planted seed not just in the soil, but in culture, in faith, and in legacy. Here, between the desert and the river, the story of ancient Egypt began. Every year, like clockwork, the Nile flooded, and with it came slate-rich black soil that made the land unimaginably fertile in an otherwise hostile desert. Remember, in the first part, we talked about the Greek historian Herodotus, who called Egypt the gift of the Nile, and he was right. Without the Nile, there would be no Egypt. In this fertile land, community grew, villages became towns, and towns grew into cities. These early societies developed tools, languages, rituals, and began to record their lives in symbols, which would eventually evolve into hieroglyphics, one of the earliest writing systems. Before the Grand Dynasty, Egypt was a land of two distinct kingdoms. Upper Egypt in the south, Upper River, and the Lower Egypt in the north, the Nile Delta. Around 3100 BBC, over 5,000 years ago, a pivotal event occurred, which brought about the unification of these two lands. While historical account varies, tradition credits King Narmer, also known as Narmer, with this monumental achievement. He established Memphis as the capital, which is strategically located at the junction of the lands. Symbolizing their unity, he became the first pharaoh of a unified land. He wore a symbol of power, the double crown, combining the white crown of the Upper Egypt and the red crown of the Lower Egypt. It wasn't just a measure of land, it was the birth of a nation. As Egypt unified, so did its systems. Agriculture became more effective and efficient. Trade flourished. Law was standardized. Temples, tombs, and administrative buildings rose from the sand. Religion and state became inseparable. The pharaoh wasn't just a king, he was divine. The human embodiment of Horus, the falcon god, tasked with maintaining math, the cosmetic balance of truth and order. To the ancient Egyptians, death wasn't an end, it was a continuation of life in a different realm. They developed elaborate burial customs, believing the soul could live forever if properly honored. This belief would soon spark one of the greatest building programs in human history. From mud huts to organized states, from tribal elders to divine kings, Egypt emerged from the Nile like a lotus in bloom. What began as a survival evolved into civilization, and this is just the beginning. And as we peel back the layers of history, our truth remains, our stories, the real ones, are worth telling, worth remembering, and worth owning. Because history isn't just a book or museum, it lives in us, in our voices, in our passion, and in our identity. And me, I'm just an African girl with a different, a girl who dares to speak, to share, and to reawaken the truth, one story at a time.